our students have a horrible grade level reading program. If a child is not able to read by the time they're in the 3rd grade, they're either going to be on their way to being in jail or on the way to being dead. And here's the issue. There are prison statisticians right now determining the number of beds that have to be built for the number of children who can't read. So in the Scott administration, we have a public safety, a public education agenda that focuses on grade level reading, where we want to have summer reading academies. It will take $11 million to focus on that, and it'll help make certain that our children reach their full potential for the following years.
All right. Thank you for the, and now we have another red card rebuttal. This from Vincent Tolliver. This is his first red card rebuttal of the night. Mr. Tolliver, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you, Lance. This rebuttal is the notion, and this is for Frank, the notion of unifying the city is a nice slogan. It works in marketing, but unfortunately, the issue is it doesn't hold up under scrutiny. You cannot claim to unify the city when you are part of the problem. What do I mean by that? Frank's mentor is the city manager. The city manager is a big part of the problem in Little Rock, and we need to be very clear and very focused on that. So you can't make claims of unifying the city when the city manager is actually part of the problem.
All right. That is the end of round 2. We are partway through this debate tonight. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. We have Frank Scott is actually going to use his second and final rebuttal of the night. Mr. Scott, 30 seconds for your final rebuttal of the night.
Mr. Tolliver, it's great that you like to create despair and negativity in this race. If you would like to know who my mentor is, it's Judge Marion Humphrey. Also, it's a Dr. J.J. Lacey. Also, it's a Secretary Rodney Slater. And also, it's my mother by the name of Brenda D. Scott. Those are my mentors. Now, is the city manager a friend? Yes. I'm born and raised in Little Rock, and quite frankly, he gave me a scholarship called the Ron Brown Memorial Scholarship. I can't help it that I'm running for mayor right now, and I have him as a friend. That's how we truly unify the city. We don't disparage people, we actually make friends.
Out politics for $400, please.
Who is your favorite musician, and do you follow any local bands?
My favorite musician is Neil Young from the 60s. Well, I dreamed I saw the knights in armor come, saying something about a queen. I can sing the whole song for you, but it reminds me of one of the major things I'm running for. I believe that Little Rock has a destiny to become a major metropolis of the planet. Look at the global warming, could be sea level rise, maybe, maybe not. As your mayor, I announced a couple of short-term goals of decriminalizing marijuana and recycling for all. Those I can do in 1 year, but in 4 years, I will produce a plan for Little Rock to grow from its 180,000 to maybe 3 or 4 million people, and still reduce the carbon footprint of the city. It's called the Metropolitan Village Plan, high-density inner cities, and then villages that are high-density going out, connected by mass transit. I have a vision for the future of this city.
How will your administration help close the racial divide in Little Rock?
Well, this is such an important issue for our city, and I can say that I approach it with a tremendous amount of humility, because I think that there's so much work that we have to do, and it begins by listening. And as mayor, I want to make sure that I'm going into every neighborhood in the city, and I'm asking people what they see the needs to be and how we think we can move forward. And I think we need to be more inclusive as a city government. So many of our boards and commissions right now are constituted by, in essence, people who represent one demographic. And we need to make sure that we set real goals that are transparent and public to make sure that we have true diversity in our boards and commissions and in our employment and hiring practices at the city. I think there's so much more that we need to do on this front, and I'm committed to doing it as mayor, but I'm not going to do it in a top-down way. I'm going to make sure that I'm listening, that we're trying to achieve true equity throughout the city and how we spend our money in every neighborhood, because I do believe that when we try to achieve equity that's measurable and transparent, we will achieve unity in our city.
What are your views on charter schools? Do you think charter schools are a path to be explored, or should we... I'm going to repeat that question. Please hold your applause to till the end. What are your views on charter schools? Do you think charter schools are a path to be explored, or should we be investing more in our public schools?
Well, if charter schools would adhere to the statute, which says they're new, they're innovative, they get waivers from our state in order to do things that are designed to reach people who otherwise weren't succeeding, I would be leading the charge for charter schools. But instead, what we find when we look at the data, this is not Baker's politics, this is hard numbers. When I looked at the data and presented to the state board in March of 2016 about who they took from our school district out of these schools that people say are no good, you know what they took? 80% of the kids were proficient and advanced in literacy. 78% of the kids were proficient and advanced in math. That's who they took out of our schools, and they left it to Little Rock to educate the kids that were left. A lot of poor kids, a lot of kids of color, a lot of kids who were disabled, a lot of kids who didn't speak English, and it's unacceptable. And I'm supposed to be the candidate of the establishment. Okay? That's what they call me now. It's baloney because I spoke truth to power. And the truth is that we cannot leave people behind in our city. And if you segregate people by race, by language, by how much money they have, you are trying to leave them behind, and I won't tolerate it. And I got fired for it.
How do you feel about the legalization of recreational marijuana? Did your administration work to change local laws or policy?
This must be the Daily Double. Last year, the people of Little Rock passed medical marijuana by 53% of the vote. I was the most surprised guy in the state. I've been working on this for 30 years ago. Let me tell you, when I came here 30 years ago from Florida via Reno, I thought, well, you know, this is not a decriminalized state, you know, maybe, but I thought, no, Bob, no big. I'll go down to the state capitol and we'll get these laws changed shortly. 30 years of working on it. Finally, we had some kind of progress in the last election. Need I tell you that we are going to make further progress and go for legalization in 2020? I still wonder, though, why the legislature doesn't do anything. They won't even debate an item for reform. So I think there's something broken about the legislature, but if we have to amend the Constitution again, that's what we're going to do in 2020.
Now we do want to give each candidate a chance to give their closing remarks.
All right, and we will start with Baker Curris. If you'll come to the microphone, you have 30 seconds for your closing remark of the evening.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I have a different skill set. I'm not a career politician, and I'm not all about just making speeches. I'm about results. Everything I've done has resulted in something that's valuable in this city, I hope. And that's what I want to do. I want to serve. I want to go to work for you as a servant leader who gets results, like new schools in Southwest, new schools out west, a different attitude and a different approach with people working together and valuing each other. It's Curris, U.S. That's what I want to do. So vote Baker Curris for mayor, please.
Thank you very much. We'll now welcome Frank Scott Jr. for his closing remarks.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, I am Little Rock. Born and raised here and choose to be here. Little Rock is disconnected. I think about the times where I worked for Governor Mike Beebe, and my friend said, hey, let's go to Kavanaugh and have some drinks. At 22 years old, didn't know where Kavanaugh was. And guess what? I figured out that they didn't know where Gower Springs was as well. That's what's wrong with Little Rock. We're disconnected. We have to have intentional interaction to make certain that we focus on diversity in the marketplace and educational treatment. It is time for Little Rock to change for the better. In a Scott administration, you would truly find that to happen to be a part of a solution. Thank you so much. Please vote for Frank Scott Jr.
Thank you very much. Mr. Oliver, we'll go back to your closing statements.
Well, I'll wait till the applause from Mr. Phillips dies. My name is Vincent Tolliver. I'm running for mayor of Little Rock for one reason and one reason only, and that's because I believe in people. When you think about changing the culture in which a city operates, you have to be willing to get into uncomfortable spaces. And that's what we need in a leader, and that's what we need in a mayor. There are a lot of things great about this city, but there are a lot of things, voters, as you know, need to be changed. And so I am that mayor that will get proximate, that will get down and do the work. I don't want to tell you about a resume. I will do the work.
Thank you very much. We'll now welcome Glenn Schwartz for his closing remarks.
And I am Glenn Schwartz, a legitimate candidate for mayor. Mayor Schwartz be with you. One of the main reasons I took this race is to use that phrase. I hope it not to be just the phrase for my campaign. It'll be the phrase for my entire administration. May the sports be with you. I want to point out one difference that didn't come up in this debate. I'm the only candidate that is against turning Little Rock into a sanctuary city. People must come here legally, but if they do come here legally, whether from abroad or from the southern states, welcome them, assimilate them, make them all into citizens of Little Rock.
Thank you very much. We'll now welcome Warwick Saban for his closing remarks.
Well, my wife Jessica and I love this city, but we know it could be so much better for everyone, and that's why I'm running for mayor. And I have a track record of getting real results from my 6 years in the state legislature, for my work in the private sector, running the Oxford American, creating the Innovation Hub, and for my community service, serving on the boards of so many different organizations around this city. I hope you'll go to my website, sabanformayor.com, and check out my positions on the issues. But more importantly, I'm asking for your vote. Early voting starts on Monday. Election Day is 2 weeks from next Tuesday, and I hope you'll vote for me, Warwick Saban, for mayor. Thank you.